Happy to have you along. We are joined, as always, by Greg Engert, Beer Director for the Neighborhood Restaurant Group, a Food and Wine Sommelier of the Year. The group includes our home base here, Church Key, downstairs, Birch and Barley, also GBD in DuPont Circle. Greg, it's always good to see you.
See you too.
What is on tap this week?
So Great Lakes Brewing Company is celebrating 25 years of craft brewing in 2013. So we actually did a big 25th anniversary party for Great Lakes here at Church Key in DC not too long ago, which is great. For the occasion, they have made a few different new beers, including this Silver and Gold, which is based on their silver anniversary, obviously. And this is a really great and cool, interesting beer for Great Lakes because it takes their tradition of fantastic lager making. They make as great lagers in America as anybody does. You think about like Dortmunder Gold, Elliott Ness Vienna Lager. I know you're familiar with those.
The wife's from Cleveland, so yes.
You've been drinking this for much longer because they've only been in DC for a little bit of time.
3-4 years. Yeah.
But they've taken their classic tradition of lager brewing and fused it with the more contemporary India Pale Ale, the big hoppy beers. And what results is a somewhat new style that everybody seems to be jumping into, and this is the India Pale Lager. Basically what you do with this is take a pale lager. In this case, you see it's got a little bit more of a darker golden, almost amber hue to it, so a little bit of a beefed up pale lager. And rather than hopping it in a traditional lager way with continental hops, noble hops, that'll give you a kind of cleaner, gentler bitterness, floral, earthy, herbal, slightly spicy notes. They're using American hops. Still backloading it, so it's actually got a lot of great aromas, nice bitterness up front, but a more intensely American hopped lager. And when we taste it, I think you'll see, rather than that kind of clean pinpoint bitterness and the slight herbal floral notes, you get more of the citrus and the pine resin qualities we'd expect from an IPA.
It smells like Dortmunder. It smells like a more powerful Dortmunder.
Yeah, you get the bready malt qualities that come through in the Dortmunder Gold. It's fermented with the same lager yeast. Comes through, but then also there is that additional kind of American hop character.
I mean, if you have had Dortmunder Gold before, you're going to love this. If you haven't had Dortmunder Gold before, you might love it. It is delicious. It
is. It's kind of like if you took Dortmunder Gold and blended it with an amazing American IPA or something like that. That's kind of what you get. And so this is a really cool kind of hybrid beer that is still true to their roots. They didn't decide to come out with a 13% barrel-aged imperial stout.
They still could.
They could.
I'll try that.
We drink it. And what's really cool too is that they have, the pub in Cleveland, where it all started in '88. Still churning out lots of one-off beers, lots of really cool stuff. Yeah. And they do some barrel aging there and things like that. But this is a really nice fit and a delicious, nuanced addition to both people, hoppier beers, but also the lager tradition.
Yeah, I really recommend a trip to Cleveland if you can do it, to go to Great Lakes Brewery. Just a half a block away is the city's West Side Market, which is this great public market, cool. Produce, meats, fish, delis. That's a lot of fun. How does this change what you would normally pair a lager with? Or what would you pair with this?
Well, I think it's a good question. I mean, it definitely tastes much hoppier than a pale lager and even more intensely hoppy than most Pilsners, but at the same time has more malt body than a Pilsner would. So I think that this is the increased hop intensity is going to mean you're going to want a little bit more richness. Pale lagers go with everything because they don't have as much bitterness on the palate. Dortmunder Gold is just a classic. That's one of those great beers to have in the fridge because you can use it for so many things. With this, you got to be careful a little bit of the hops. But obviously we're still in the summertime. This is going to be awesome with any manner of grilled meat, hot dogs, burgers, things like that. Another thing that I've been thinking about a lot for these is Chinese food, takeout Chinese, things like that. Especially because when I was thinking about food pairings for this, thinking about the balance here. We have malt sweetness, but then we have bitterness. And when you think about Chinese takeout or something, you've got that soy sesame rich sweetness, oftentimes a noodle or rice richness. That's great for the malts here. But then you also tend to have some bittering vegetables, bok choy, Chinese broccoli, and things like that. So I think that could be a kind of a cool additional pairing.
We talk so much about craft brewing and how many new breweries are opening every year, and you've got some real young ones like Maine Beer Company that's making amazing stuff that we've tried at least 2 of theirs.
Yeah.
But then you hear about these 25-year anniversaries,
Yeah.
late 80s.
Yeah.
Bell's has been around a long time. They've been around a long time.
Yeah.
There are a lot
Bell's
of really
1984, 85, I think. Yeah.
It's to me just impressive that they're still churning out
kicking.
great
Yeah.
product.
And they've gotten
that.
bigger. They've become more readily available throughout the country. But the quality is still unparalleled, and that's what's really, really great about these breweries that have survived. Because many breweries did close in the '90s, and still more are coming out today. And in fact, speaking of 1988 as a cool year, one of the other beers that Great Lakes has released in 2013 is the Class of '88 Imperial Smoked Porter that they brewed with Deschutes out of Bend, Oregon. Because both Deschutes and Great Lakes originated in the year 1988. So that was a cool kind of collaboration. And of course, Deschutes, one of those amazing old school breweries that we still don't have the pleasure of their company yet on the East Coast. I blame most of that on the Pacific Northwest's thirst, but they can't keep up. They grow and grow and grow and still have trouble keeping up with existing and even the newer Midwest markets they're looking at. So hopefully someday they'll get here.
I didn't mention this to you ahead of time, but I believe there's a special event coming up at Blue Jacket.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's tickets still left. Do you want to talk about
yeah,
that
I'll talk
a little
about
bit?
that. Absolutely. So we are getting closer and closer to the opening of Blue Jacket down the southeast waterfront near National Stadium. Our brewery, restaurant, and bar is slated to open in early September. However, DC Beer Week is coming up, and that's going to be this year between August 11th and August 18th. There are a series of kind of marquee events going on throughout that week on each night, and we are proud to be hosting the kind of Beer Week finale on Sunday the 18th at Blue Jacket. We sold the tickets. It's an all-inclusive thing. Starting Monday at noon, right at noon, and sold out pretty quickly thereafter. However, we do have a waiting list going for that through Eventbrite, which is our ticketing agency for the event. So if you didn't get there in time, you can always sign up on the waiting list. And we're hopeful that we actually, in addition to maybe having people who can't make it, which we hope that doesn't happen, but we may be able to expand the amount of people coming in. So I encourage you to sign up for that.
Gee, it's too bad no one wants to go see Blue Jacket.
I know,
no
we're
interest
excited
there.
about that. Yeah.
Well, at least we let people know when it should be opening. We'll talk about DC Beer Week next time.
Sure.
All right, if you've got a question for Greg, here is the email, beeroftheweek@WTOP.com. Greg, thank you as always.
Thank you.
Everyone, please always do drink responsibly, and be sure to bring your thirst next time for another Beer of the Week.